Seatbelts and airbags help prevent injuries in cars. Sunscreen prevents sunburn. But how do you help prevent substance abuse among teens and young adults? A coalition of organizations in La Plata County is working together to develop programs to do exactly that. You're watching the Local News Network, brought to you by the Payroll Department and Craigers Ace Hardware. I'm Wendy Graham-Settle.
So ROAR stands for Recognizing Opportunities Around Resilience, and it's a coalition that's focused on substance use prevention for youth in La Plata County. We focus on prevention, so that can look like a lot of different things. We do like harm reduction education, so we did an event at the fort this week where we kind of sponsored an event where people talked about harm reduction, opioids, and kind of just getting information out about like statistics and stuff like that. But we do everything from like a lens of positivity.
Substance abuse among teens and young adults is an ongoing issue, and ROAR's coalition organizations are all focusing on finding different ways to address the problem. ROAR provides everything from resources for dealing with addiction and abuse to community-based events that provide a safe space for young adults to hang out together.
Also just trying to work on those social connections and positive community norming. Just having like community and connection is a huge way to combat substance use. If people feel like they have people they can turn to and they don't feel alone and don't feel like they need to maybe go to substances, that's a huge way to do that. So that's like these events. It's by we're like trying to connect more with the youth in the community through our community partners, but also eventually having like youth advisory council, getting youth input on what are like events or spaces or things that would make me feel more safe and more connected to the community.
It's not just about providing resources and safe spaces to hang out with friends, though. ROAR uses statistics from Healthy Kids Colorado to help change the way drugs are talked about in the community by changing the narrative from a negative to more of a positive message.
Well, we're not saying that like don't do drugs. We're not saying like stuff like that. We're not dare. We're trying to say like there's the perception that everyone's using substances and everyone's partying all the time and stuff like that. It all false. Like if you look at data from Healthy Kids Colorado, which is what informs a lot of our work, it's less than that. It's like the 30% that are having a sip of alcohol. There's like 4% of young people are using prescription drugs. So let's celebrate those 90% or those 70% of people who are not, and change that norm so that if you're not involved in that stuff, you don't feel lame or left out. Like, do what makes you happy, and celebrating like your friendships and communities and the clubs you're part of. Like, let's focus on that instead.
ROAR sponsors a mixture of education and fun events around town, partnering with youth-centered spaces like The Hive to create reliable locations for young adults. It also publishes a monthly newsletter for free or low-cost events for teens and young adults ages 16 to 28. Upcoming events include a poetry workshop at The Hive on March 23rd and a Spring into Science event sponsored by the Powerhouse Science Center on March 22nd and 24th.
That's what we try to do with these coalitions, is not just be like, okay, well, this one nonprofit or this like one part of the health department is going to decide everything. It's like, let's try to get as many voices to the table as possible that we can, and we're just trying to encourage everyone to come and talk, because your lived experience is valid. Like, we want to hear about it.
To learn more about ROAR, sign up for its newsletter, or to suggest an event, find the organization on Facebook or Instagram or online at celebratinghealthycommunities.org/ROAR Coalition. Thanks for watching this edition of the Local News Network. I'm Wendy Graham-Settle.